What if the greatest test of your faith was not a fearsome beast or a tyrannical king, but the silent, creeping loss of the one gift that defines your very soul? In the ancient village of Oakhaven, nestled between whispering woods and a stoic mountain, lived a man named Cale. He was no warrior or sage, but his hands were blessed with a divine gift. Cale was a woodcarver, and his creations were said to hold echoes of the god's own artistry. From a simple block of oak, he could coax out the spirit of a soaring eagle. From a piece of ash, the gentle wisdom of a forest spirit. His faith was carved into every piece, a silent prayer offered through the dance of his chisel and mallet. People traveled for days to see his work, to touch the life he breathed into wood. But as seasons turned and his hair silvered, a cruel affliction began to settle in his hands. It started as a faint tremor, a ghost of a vibration that only he could feel. He dismissed it, blaming the morning chill or a long day's work. Yet the tremor grew, becoming a persistent shudder that turned his once steady hands into traitors. The chisel would slip, gouging the serene face of a goddess. The mallet would strike askew, splintering the delicate wing of a bird. The pain was not in his joints, but in his heart, a searing agony that watched his life's purpose crumble into sawdust and splinters. His workshop, once a sanctuary of creation, became a chamber of frustration and despair. He prayed, his voice raw and desperate, to the gods he had honored his entire life. Why? He would cry into the night, holding up his trembling hands. You gave me this gift, this one way to show my devotion. Why are you taking it away? The heavens remained silent. His faith, once as solid as the mountain, began to erode. He saw his pain as a punishment, a sign that his offerings were no longer worthy. The gods, it seemed, had abandoned him. Broken, Cale locked his workshop, the scent of cedar and pine now a painful reminder of what he had lost. He wandered the village, a ghost haunted by the memory of his own hands. He saw the carvings he had made adorning the temples and homes, and each one was a fresh wound. One afternoon, seeking refuge from his own thoughts, he entered the main temple. His eyes fell upon the grand altar he had carved in his youth, a sprawling tableau of gods and mortals intertwined. A young girl stood before it, her small hands tracing the lines of the story he had carved decades ago. He looked so sad, she whispered, pointing to a small figure of a man kneeling at the feet of a god. Cale remembered carving it. The man was a farmer whose fields had been ravaged by drought, offering his last handful of grain. He is not sad, Cale heard himself say, his voice raspy from disuse. The girl looked at him, her eyes wide with curiosity. He is not sad, Cale repeated, more firmly. He has lost his harvest, everything he worked for. But he is not offering the grain. He is offering his faith. He is showing the gods that even with nothing left, he still believes. As the words left his lips, a profound realization washed over him. His gift was not in his hands. His hands were merely the tools, the vessel. His true gift was the faith that guided them, the stories he yearned to tell, the devotion that filled his heart. The pain had not been a punishment. It had been a crucible. It had stripped away the vessel to reveal the essence. With a new light in his eyes, Cale returned to his dusty workshop. His hands still trembled. The chisel still felt alien and clumsy. But he did not pick it up. Instead, he gathered the village children, the apprentices who had once watched him in awe. He could no longer carve the stories, but he could tell them. He described the grain of the wood, the way a line should flow to show sorrow or joy. He guided their small, steady hands, his words painting the images his fingers could no longer form. He taught them the prayers his father had taught him, the meaning behind each symbol, the spirit within each tree. His pain did not vanish. The tremors remained a constant companion. But it was no longer a source of agony. It was a reminder that faith is not about the strength of one's hands, but the resilience of one's spirit. Cale, the master carver, had lost his ability to shape wood, But in his pain, he had found a greater purpose, to shape the hearts and souls of a new generation. And in their hands, his faith found a new, more enduring life.